Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. We begin today's satsang with a prayer, which will be chanted by Srimati Sapna Ganesh. This will be followed by the chanting of Muktaka trayam.
दक्षिणामूर्तिसारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् रमणाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये आङ्गिकं भुवनं यस्य वाचिकं सर्ववाङ्मयम् आहार्यं चन्द्रतारादि तं नमः सात्विकं शिवम् ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय. नमो रमणा to everyone.
एकमक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते कथम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् ह्यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Upadesa Saram by Sri Uma Shripati.
नमो रमण. वायुरोधना लीयते मना जालपक्षिवद्रोधसाधनम् चित्तवायवाश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाखयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलका लयविनाशने उभयरोदने लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतम् प्राणबन्धनालीनमानसम् एकचिन्तना नाशमेत्यद नष्टमानसो उत्कृष्टयोगिन कृत्यमस्ति किं स्वस्तितिं यत दृश्यबालितं चित्तमात्मना चित्त्वदर्शनं तत्त्वदर्शनं मानसं तु किं मार्गणे कृते नैव मानसं मार्ग आर्जवात् वृत्तयस्त्वहं वृत्तिमाश्रिताः वृत्तयो मनो विद्यहं मन अहमयं कुतो भवति चिन्वत अयि पतत्यहं निजविचारणम् अहमिनाशभाजहमहन्तया स्फुरतिरत्स्वयं परमपूर्णस
Namo Ramana. We will now have 3 songs from Ramananjali music. The first one will be presented by Srimati V. Radha. The second song will be presented by Savitri Krishnan and Jaisriram Krishnan. The third song will be presented by Revathi Shankar.
Namo Ramana to all. Today I am presenting a song from Arivathurai. The song is written by Sri Sadhuvam Swami and the music is by Srimati Sulochana Natarajan. Ramanan nandro உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ முன்னறிதலை உணர்ந்து விட்டால் முடிந்ததெல்லா சாதனையும் முன்னறிதலை உணர்ந்து விட்டால் முடிந்ததெல்லா சாதனையும் ரமணன் நன்றோ உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ கனவில் இருந்து விழித்துக் கொண்டால் கனவு துயரல் கவலை இல்லை கனவில் இருந்து விழித்துக் கொண்டால் கனவு துயரல் கவலை இல்லை நனவில் இருந்து விழித்து விட்டால் ஞானம் அது வேறேதும் இல்லை நனவில் இருந்து விழித்து விட்டால் ஞானம் அது வேறேதும் இல்லை ரமணன் நன்றோ உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ எல்லாம் அழிந்த பிரளயத்தில் இருப்பாய் மிஞ்சும் இயல்பெதுவோ எல்லாம் அழிந்த பிரளயத்தில் இருப்பாய் மிஞ்சும் இதை இயல்பெதுவோ எல்லாம் வல்லவது நீயே எல்லாம் வல்லவது நீயே இதுவே ஞானம் இது நீயே இதுவே ஞானம் இது நீயே இதுவே ஞானம் ரமணன் நன்றோ உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ உன்னை விட உன்மேல் கவலை உள்ள பெருமான் ரமணன் நன்றோ ரமணன் நன்றோ ரமணன் நன்றோ நமோ ரமணா
செந்தாமரை
மறைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டேன் சிக்கென வந்தெந்தாயனதுட தூடை தாய் பராபரமே செந்தாமரைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டேன் சிக்கென வந்தெந்தாயனதுட தூடை தாய் பராபரமே சும்மா இருந்து மகிழ்சூப்பு மந்தேராதே நானம்மா அலைந்தலைந்தேன் அந்தோ பராபரமே சும்மா இருந்து மகிழ்சூப்பு மந்தேராதே நானம்மா அலைந்தலைந்தேன் அந்தோ பராபரமே செந்தாமரைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டே சிக்கன வந்தெந்தாயனதுள தூடை தாய் பராபரமே அறிவூடறிவாய் அறிவித்த உண்மை பிரியாத என் ஸ்வரூப பெட்பாம் பராபரமே அறிவூடறிவாய் அறிவித்த உண்மை பிரியாத என் ஸ்வரூப பெட்பாம் பராபரமே இருக்குமிடம் தோன்றாதிருப்பாய் கரப்பாய் வெறுகுளமற்றெல்லாம் விழுங்கி பராபரமே இருக்குமிடம் தோன்றாதிருப்பாய் கரப்பாய் வெறுகுளமற்றெல்லாம் விழுங்கி பராபரமே செந்தாமரைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டே சிக்கன வந்தெந்தாயனதுள தூடை தாய் பராபரமே உள்ளிலோ அன்றி வெளியிலோ சிந்தையரின் வெள்ளமாம் பேரின்பமேவும் பராபரமே உள்ளிலோ அன்றி வெளியிலோ சிந்தையரின் வெள்ளமாம் பேரின்பமேவும் பராபரமே அருள் வாழி வாழி அடியேன் ஸ்வரூப பொருள் வாழி வாழி சத்போதம் பராபரமே அருள் வாழி வாழி அடியேன் ஸ்வரூபம் பொருள் வாழி வாழி சத்போதம் பராபரமே செந்தாமரைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டேன் சிக்கன வந்தெந்தாயனதுள தூடை தாய் பராபரமே சும்மா இருந்து மகிழ்சூப்பு மந்தேராதே நானம்மா அலைந்தலைந்தேன் அந்தோ பராபரமே செந்தாமரைபதத்தே தெண்டனிட்டேன் சிக்கன வந்தெந்தாயனதுள தூடை தாய். ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ ரமணாய.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. We being Bhagavan's devotees, we all live hoping that Bhagavan Ramana's grace is always on us. It is always there, but since we see him as different from us, we make ourselves different from him. So we keep saying that I want his grace. I want your grace. With your grace alone, I am leading my life. That is the truth. But since I am different from him, I keep saying, don't leave me. Don't make me fall into this whirlpool of dukkha, sukha, dukkha, sukha. When I saw you the first day, I embraced you. But now, oh Ramana, please don't push me away. I prayed to you to remove all my ego. Burn it off, says me, and prayed to you. I kept on pleading to you. But why are you not still taking away all my ego and all kinds of lowliness? I kept on calling you, oh Father, oh Mother, please come to me. I kept on calling again and again. Even after you listen to it, why are you going away from me? Who else will take care of me, O Bhagavan? Says in this song, Sadhuam Swami beautifully writes a Ninda Stuti on Ramana. This is translated to Kannada by Dr. N.S. Lakshminarayana Bhatta. Music is by H.K. Narayana. ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ಕಂಡ ದಿನವೇ ಬಾಚಿ ತಬ್ಬಿನಿಂದೆ ದೂರ ತಳ್ಳುವುದೀಗ ನ್ಯಾಯವೇನೋ ಕಂಡ ದಿನವೇ ಬಾಚಿ ತಬ್ಬಿನಿಂದೆ ದೂರ ತಳ್ಳುವುದೀಗ ನ್ಯಾಯವೇನೋ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ನನ್ನ ಅಹಂಕಾರವನು ಉರಿಸು ಎಂದು ಇನ್ನಿಲ್ಲದಂತೆ ನಾ ಬೇಡುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನನ್ನ ಅಹಂಕಾರವನು ಉರಿಸು ಎಂದು ಇನ್ನಿಲ್ಲದಂತೆ ನಾ ಬೇಡುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನನ್ನ ಹಮ್ಮಿಗೆ ಚಿಗಿದ ವಾಸನೆಗಳ ಚಿನ್ಮಯನೆ ಕತ್ತರಿಸೋ ಬೇಯುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನನ್ನ ಹಮ್ಮಿಗೆ ಚಿಗಿತ ವಾಸನೆಗಳ ಚಿನ್ಮಯನೆ ಕತ್ತರಿಸೋ ಬೇಯುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ತಂದೆ ಬಾ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾ ಕಂದ ನಾನು ಎಂದು ಒಂದೇ ಸಮನೆ ಚೀರುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ತಂದೆ ಬಾ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾ ಕಂದ ನಾನು ಎಂದು ಒಂದೇ ಸಮನೆ ಚೀರುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಅದು ಕೇಳಿಯೂ ನೀನು ಸಲಹದಿರಲು ಅದ ಕೇಳಿಯೂ ನೀನು ಸಲಹದಿರಲು ಯಾರೆನಗೆ ಗತಿಯೆಂದು ನೋಯುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಂಬಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ಕಂಡ ದಿನವೇ ಬಾಚಿ ತಬ್ಬಿನಿಂದೆ ದೂರ ತಳ್ಳುವುದೀಗ ನ್ಯಾಯವೇನೋ ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆಯನೆ ನಂಬಿ ಬಾಳುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ಬೀಳಬಿಡದೆ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ ರಮಣ ದೇವ ಕಾಯೋ Namo Ramana. We will now have reading and sharing from the book Ramana's Muruganar by Sri Nandakumarji.
Sorry about the delay. In this, the book reading segment of our... Am I audible? In this, the book reading segment of our satsang, we continue to read from the book Ramana's Muruganar, a birth centenary offering by Ramanacentre Center for Learning, edited and compiled by our founder president, Shri A.R. Natarajanji. We have been reading the account of Sadhuvam Swamigal, who entitles his account as Shri Muruganar, the right hand of Shri Bhagwan. And probably we will come to that part today where he is explaining why he has entitled this article as Muruganar is the right hand of Bhagwan. Shri Muruganar's devotion to Shri Ramana Bhagavan was boundless. In his divine sight, he realized that his Sadguru Shri Ramana was Lord Arunachala Shiva himself. In Shri Ramana Jnana Bodham, Muruganar reveals the nature of his Eka Bhakti to Shri Bhagavan as follows. It is not that I do not know that all the gods who appear as if many are manifestations of the one reality. Though I know this, among all the gods, my mind is drawn in love only towards Shivaramana. We had read up to that. We continue. Such unshakable one-pointed devotion to Sri Ramana took firm root in his heart on the very first day he saw him. Therefore, while singing Sri Ramana Sannidhi Murai in the style of Tiruvachakam, when he came to compose Tiruvundiyar, he sang of the divine Leela of not only Lord Shiva, but also of Vinayakar, Murugan, Lord Vishnu, Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, Buddha, Christ, and other gods as being Leelas performed by Sri Ramana, the Self. While singing thus, Sri Muruganar reached the point where he was to relate the Leela performed by Lord Shiva with the tapasvis of the Dharuka forest, who were performing yagas and yajnas in accordance with Purva Mimamsaka interpretation of the Karmakanda of the Vedas. When he began to relate this story, he described the state of those tapasvis as follows. Those who were performing tapas in Dharuka forest were heading for their ruin by following the path of Purva Karma. Because of their deceptive self-conceit, they became intoxicated with excessive pride, saying, there is no God except karma. This is Sannidhi Murai, verses 1346-47. these are quoted in Upadesa Saram in the beginning as precursors as to how Upadesa Saram came about. After relating how the pride of the tapasvis was humbled by the divine Leela of Lord Shiva and how they then worshipped him and prayed for his forgiveness, Sri Muruganar reached the stage where Lord Shiva was to give them Upadesha in order to guide them on the path to liberation. Thinking in all humility that it would be improper on his part to decide of his own accord the subtleties regarding which means Lord Shiva taught to those tapasvis and in which order as to uplift them gradually from their then state of blind attachment to karmas and to guide them onward to the state of mukti, Sri Muruganar prayed to Sri Bhagavan, the perfect Sadguru Murti, who is the very embodiment of Lord Arunachala Shiva himself, beseeching him to reveal the Upadesha given by Lord Shiva. In this sentence, Sadhuvam is revealing the layout of Upadesha Saram itself, how to gradually uplift those rishis, how from karma it would have gradually come to self-enquiry. I'll read that sentence again, so very nicely constructed. Thinking in all humility that it would be improper on his part to decide on his own accord, the subtleties regarding which means Lord Shiva taught to those tapasvis and in which order so as to uplift them gradually from their then state of blind attachment to karmas and to guide them onwards to the state of mukti, Sri Muruganar prayed to Sri Bhagavan, the perfect Sadguru Murti, who is the very embodiment of Lord Arunachala Shiva himself, beseeching him to reveal the Upadesha given by Lord Shiva. In answer to this prayer of his devotee, Sri Bhagavan began to sing the Upadesha as given by Lord Shiva to elevate the tapasvis from the state of mind in which they were at that time, and thus the work Upadesha Undiyar came into existence. So we should recall that Sadhuvam Swamigal had gradually led us that Muruganar was the first devotee who could ask this great teacher as to what he felt was appropriate for us rather than originate some questions which Bhagavan had to answer. Before Sri Muruganar came to him, Sri Bhagavan had from time to time composed stray verses for the sake of various devotees. On seeing some such verses, Sri Muruganar found that they contained many spiritual truths revealed by Sri Bhagavan from his own experience, which were not hitherto found even in the Upanishads and other lofty Vedantic texts, and hence he began to gather together all such stray verses. An idea then arose in his mind to arrange those verses, which amounted to 21 in all, so as to form a single coherent text. Knowing that Sri Bhagavan was by nature a perfect Mauni, devoid of all sankalpa, Sri Muruganar understood that unless someone earnestly prayed to him, his many precious, lofty ideas would not be revealed to the world. Therefore, since Sri Muruganar felt it necessary that connections should be formed between the ideas of one verse and the next in the 21 which he had, and that the ideas contained in some verses could be expressed in a still clearer and more detailed manner, he approached Sri Bhagavan and prayed, O Bhagavan, graciously compose some more verses so as to form a work consisting of 40 verses, revealing the nature of reality and the means of attaining it in order that the devotees may be saved. Was it not the divine grace of Sri Bhagavan which thus enkindled in the heart of Sri Muruganar the idea to form a sublime Tamil treatise on Jnana entitled Ulladu Narpadu by compiling 40 of Sri Bhagavan's verses which bestow the true spiritual benefit upon souls by revealing the reality and which possess a spiritual power no less than that of the most exalted Upanishads. Ulladu Narpadu is of course referred to as Ramanopanishad by many. In answer to the prayer of Sri Muruganar, on 21st July 1928, Sri Bhagavan began to compose one or two verses now and then as the occasion arose, and Sri Muruganar proceeded to arrange the verses in order according to the connection between the ideas contained in each of them. Since many of the formerly existing verses were found to be either not quite germane to the subject taken on hand, namely the nature of reality and the means of attaining it, or not entirely appropriate to the exalted level of the ideas expressed in the new verses being composed by Sri Bhagavan, it was found necessary to set aside one after another most of those old verses. Whenever the continuity of the ideas between one verse and the next was found to be inadequate, or whenever the ideas in some verses were found to be not expressed in a sufficiently detailed manner, Sri Muruganar would pray to Sri Bhagavan to write new verses or revise those already written. Thus, when the ideas coming in the new verses took the form in such a way that many of the formerly existing 21 verses had to be set aside one after another, it was finally found that 18 of the old collection of verses had been set aside. In this way, due to the perfect cooperation between the Guru and disciple, within 3 weeks, from 21st July 1928, within 3 weeks, Sri Bhagavan and Sri Muruganar formed the work Ulladu Narpadu, which is the crest jewel of all Advaita Upanishads. I'll read that particular phrase again. In this way, due to the perfect cooperation between Guru and disciple, within 3 weeks, Sri Bhagavan and Sri Muruganar formed the work Ulladu Narpadu, which is the crest jewel of all Advaita Upanishads. Having revealed from his own experience many great spiritual truths, which were not hitherto revealed even in the Vedas and Vedanta, Sri Bhagavan has given peerless Upanishads in his mother tongue Tamil for the salvation of the world. Even to the devotees who asked questions in English, Sri Bhagavan generally gave replies only in Tamil. Except to say that this is our great good fortune, no other apt reason can be found to explain why Sri Bhagavan habitually gave replies only in Tamil, even though he knew good English. Bhagavan's English was good enough to correct Major Chadwick's English when Major Chadwick translates the Bhagavad Gita Sara. So even though he knew good English, he would respond in Tamil. Moreover, when profound words of wisdom thus came from Sri Bhagavan, they came sometimes in the form of sublime Tamil verses and sometimes in prose. Devotees seated in his presence who did not know Tamil used to try to understand his teachings in English and other languages by asking the other devotees, "What is Bhagavan saying? What is his idea? Please translate for us." Only the Tamil knowing devotees in his presence, and among them only those few who had real maturity of understanding, had the good fortune of being able to understand directly the correct meaning of his teachings and the profound import hidden in his words. Among such devotees, Sri Muruganar was one endowed with a special power to understand the correct import of Sri Bhagavan's teachings as it is and to pass on the same to others. Every day, whenever precious spiritual ideas blossomed forth from the holy lips of Sri Bhagavan, they were transformed by Sri Muruganar into sweet and beautiful Tamil verses. As and when he composed each verse, Sri Muruganar gave it to Sri Bhagavan to verify whether the ideas in it were correctly expressed. When Sri Bhagavan saw those verses, if ever he wished either to express the ideas still more succinctly or to add some new ideas, he would himself compose some new verses. Thus the work Guruvachaka Kovai, consisting of 1254 verses composed by Sri Muruganar and 28 composed by Sri Bhagavan, came into existence. In truth, however, The real author of this Guruvachaka Kovai is only Bhagavan Sri Ramana, the right hand of Sri Bhagavan, which wrote down the gracious teachings which blossomed forth from his heart, in order that the mature aspirants may attain liberation. The fruit of this human birth was Sri Muruganar. So the right hand was Muruganar. Sadhuvam Swamigal says, I'll repeat that. In truth, however, the real author of this Guruvachaka Kovai is only Bhagavan Sri Ramana, the right hand of Sri Bhagavan, which wrote down the gracious teachings which blossomed forth from his heart, in order that the mature aspirants may attain liberation. The fruit of this human birth, that right hand was Sri Muruganar. What the mind thinks, the hand writes. In this way, all the ideas which took ripe form in the heart of Sri Bhagavan have become available to us in writing through Sri Muruganar. Sri Bhagavan once said, He alone knows me who knows me as I know myself. It's not a conundrum, it's a direct indication of how to know Bhagavan. Sri Bhagavan once said, He alone truly knows me who knows me as I know myself. That is, Sri Bhagavan's experience is that he is not the name and form of the insentient body, but is the nameless and formless supreme space of Satchit Ananda. It was thus that Sri Muruganar knew Sri Bhagavan. This truth can be understood from verse 6 of Guruvachaka Kovai, in which Sri Muruganar sings, Being there where Sri Ramana embraced me, I will recount a little of the nature of the supreme truth which I have come to know in my life of oneness with that Lord. Being there where Sri Ramana embraced me, I will recount a little of the nature of the supreme truth, which is limitless, which I have come to know in my life of oneness with that Lord. The divine ability to record faithfully and precisely the priceless gems of Sri Bhagavan's teachings came naturally to Sri Muruganar only because he was thus abiding as one with him in the non-dual state of self-knowledge. Therefore, if anyone wants a single text of Sri Bhagavan's teachings, in which clear expositions of all the various secrets of spiritual wisdom that should be known by the world are gathered together, that one text is Guruvachaka Kovai. The sound of the conch of Sri Bhagavan's verbal teachings, which filled with revolutionary ideas, have entered the world of spirituality, booming like thunder in the form of this work, and the sound of the flute of his silence, which is the source and power behind those ideas, are heard in all the many chapters of this work, and piercing deep into the heart of the reader, they open wide his eye of knowledge and immerse him in a flood of wonder and joy. I'll read that again. The sound of the conch of Sri Bhagavan's verbal teachings, which filled with revolutionary ideas, have entered the world of spirituality, booming like thunder in the form of this work, Guruvachaka Kovai, and the sound of the flute of his silence, which is the source and power behind those ideas, are heard in all the many chapters of this work, and piercing deep into the heart of the reader, they open wide his eyes of knowledge and immerse him in a flood of wonder and joy. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Namo Ramana.
Thank you. We will now have a session of self-enquiry and a little bit of sharing about it by Sri Dileep Simha.
Namo Ramana. Dhyaye Sharada Chandra Sundaramukam Tamraravinde Kshanam Bhaktabhishtavarabhayapradakaram Kaupinamatrojvalam Svatmanandarasanubhuti Sarvanavadyangakam Shrimantam Shri Ramanishwaram Guruvaram Yogasanadhyasitam Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Dhyayet Shri Ramanishwaram Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahmamatram Yahamahamithi Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati Hridivishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalanarodhat Atmanishto Bhavatvam. Namo Ramana. We'll commence the Atma Vicharam by listening to Bhagavan's Upadesham and meditating on it by His grace. I'll be reading his Upadesham from the book Guruvachaka Kovai from the chapter Investigation into the Truth, and the subtopic is Aham Swarupa. Verse 262. Although the body exists in the self, the ignorant man who is bound by anava, that is ego, thinks that the self exists within the body. This is like someone who believes that the screen, the abiding fundamental substratum, is present within one of the many shadowy pictures, people who appear on the screen. Bhagavan has made a correction to this. The body exists within the self, but he who thinks he exists inside the insentient body is like someone who regards the screen, the base for the projected pictures, as being within one of those pictures. Muruganas as a commentary, believing that the base for all the other cinema pictures is within one of the pictures is an erroneous perspective. Similarly, through Ajnana, a person thinks he is within the body, whereas his body is actually in the self, like any other perceived object. The Anava Malam that Bhagavan is talking about here is the one of the clothes or one of the barriers that makes us feel that we are the body. And therefore, since that idea is very firm, all other ideas, all other things which may be stated, we only try to interpret from fundamentally from that idea. And therefore, when we say we are this, when the Upanishads and Bhagavan, the Guru says that we are nothing but the self, our approach in our sadhana would be to experience that in taking this body to be oneself. So we take, even when we do Atma Vichara or any other spiritual sadhana, the fundamental firm idea would be that we are the body, and using or within this there will be the experience of the higher self. So that's why it is called Anamamalam, a very strong limitation. And Bhagavan is saying this is as good as thinking that the picture that is being projected on the screen, we take the screen to be within that picture. We take the picture to be real, and within that picture there is the screen. But it is the screen which really makes the picture appear. And that, though we could understand it, but because we take the picture to be so real, we continue to believe that the screen is within that picture. That would be the kind of erroneous approach we would be taking. So what does that mean to us in self-enquiry is that we need to be watchful of our own approach here. When we take the question, the enquiry, do we see that everything is rising and subsiding in the self and we are the unchanging self? Or do we take ourselves to the body in which all the rising and subsiding of thoughts is going on, but there is again an attempt that is being made to find that which does not rise or subside? How do we approach the enquiry? How do we enquire is the most important thing. So Bhagavan is saying, though we may initially take ourselves to be the body and we keep on practicing it, as Nandakumarji very beautifully read out, the thunder sound of Bhagavan, which has come in the form of all these Guru Vachika Kovai words, will eventually reveal that Mauna, reveal that truth, and that truth alone exists. And therefore, everything rises, subsides, and everything is nothing but that self alone. Therefore, this perspective, the Mauna song which Nandakumarji talked about, the flute of Mauna, will remove all these false ideas and will reveal that natural truth that there is only one self and that we verily are here and now. And therefore, the Atma Vichara makes us again and again question this wrong approach of ours by putting, to whom is this, who am I? With the abundant grace of Bhagavan, with which alone we have come to this most direct path. For the next 10 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichara. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will have the sharing of Atma Bodham by Sri Venkatesh Deshpande ji.
Oh. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviram Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dhyanamoolam Guru Murtih, Pujamoolam Guru Padam, Mantramulam Vakyam, Mokshamulam Guru Kripa, Mokshamulam Guru. Namo Ramana. We're doing Manana on Atma Bodha, and last satsang we did Manana on verse number 36. Let's do a little recap of that. Some more indicative definitions of Brahman are given to help the seeker continue the process of liberation. They are different views emphasizing particular aspects of the same Brahman. Together they provide the material for contemplation, meditation, and realization of Brahman. Nitya means eternal. Repetition of the term is perhaps to help an aspirant maintain a constant reflection of these ideas. Shuddha means immaculate. The Atman is the core of the human personality. It enables the five material layers to perform their respective functions. But none of these functions affect the Atman. Atman is comparable to electricity. Vimukta means liberated. You are bound by the activities of your physical body, mind, and intellect. But when you are asleep, you are free from this bondage. This freedom from limitations imposed by material equipments gained in deep sleep is temporary. You fall back into your limited existence again no sooner you wake up. Akhanda, Anandam, means unbroken bliss. The joys derived from contact with the objects of the world are temporary. In contrast to the fleeting pleasures derived through material equipments, the bliss of self-realization is absolute and eternal. Advayam means non-dual. Brahman is commonly referred to as Ekam in order to emphasize that it is something other than the pluralistic phenomena conceived by the human mind. In fact, Brahman cannot be used as the word one suggests, for then it would be imposing a limit on it. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam means truth, knowledge, infinity. This is the quote from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Satyam is translated as truth. It means that which remains ever the same. Jnanam means knowledge, and pure knowledge is directed towards an object. The presence of the object is known. Anantam means endless, infinite. The human equipments, their functions, and the entire world of objects are finite and perishable. They emerge out of the Brahman, exist for a while in Brahman, and ultimately merge into the Brahman. They are like waves in the ocean. The waves have a temporary existence. The whole world of objects and beings have a beginning and an end. Brahman, the substratum upon which the world appears and disappears, is beginningless and endless, infinite. That was what we did Manana on verse number 36. Today we'll do Manana on verse number 37. I request Sapna to kindly chant the verse, please.
Sure, sir. एवं निरन्तराभ्यास्ता ब्रह्मैवास्मीति वासना हरत्यविद्या विक्षेपान् रोगानिवरसायनम् एवं निरन्तराभ्यास्ता ब्रह्मैवास्मीति वासना हरत्यविद्या विक्षेपान् रोगान् इव रसायनम्. Thank you, sir.
That was very nice chanting. Thus, constantly practiced the innate expression, I am verily Brahman, destroys agitations caused by the ignorance, just as medicine destroys diseases. Thus, constantly practiced the innate expression, I am verily Brahman, destroys agitations caused by ignorance, just as medicine destroys diseases. This text starts with a declaration that knowledge alone can destroy ignorance and liberate you from the entanglements of the world. The preceding 6 verses indicate as to how the knowledge can be obtained through jnana abhyasa, practice of knowledge. Jnana abhyasa comprises the process of negation of the unreal and the assertion of the real. By continuous identification with your material equipments of the body, mind, and intellect, You believe yourself to be the perceiver, feeler, thinker. Again, I'll read this. By continuous identification with your material equipments of the body, mind, and intellect, you believe yourself to be the perceiver, feeler, thinker. Imagining this, you are affected and agitated by the fluctuations and changes in the world. To erase this false impression caused by ignorance and to quieten your consequent mental agitation, you must understand your body, mind, and intellect to be mere matter, vestures, and negate them. Do neti neti. Thereafter, you must suggest to yourself repeatedly that you are the Supreme Brahman. When this process gets intensified and the impression I am Brahman is constantly maintained, you become the Brahman, your real being. When this process gets intensified and the impression I am Brahman is consistently maintained, you become the Brahman, your real being. This phenomena of revealing one's own self is compared to medicine destroying a disease and restoring health to a sick person. Health is your original nature. When you take medicine, it eliminates the disease and restores your original health. Similarly, the practice of meditation of I am verily Brahman removes your ignorance and unveils your real nature, the Supreme Self. So they say, as you keep doing self-enquiry and reinforce yourself to finding out who you really are, then what happens? That's what the gurus say, Tattvamasi, you are that. What is that? He says you can also reinforce it by saying, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. So you can, once you keep reinforcing that, this is what this verse says, that I am verily Brahman. And the 4 Mahavakyas we know about, which we have done manana on. So as you keep reinforcing this, what happens? And it removes your ignorance. And then you know for certain that you're not this body, mind, intellect, and unveils your real nature. You get to know who you really are, the Supreme Self. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana. Thank you.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ashtottara by Sri Ujwal Jagadeesh.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. In this part of the satsang, we have been meditating on the verses written by Ganapati Muni, and they have been compiled and made available in the format of Ramanacentre by Ramana himself. And Ganapati Muni, in this verse, as if he has been separated from that grace which is ever flowing but seems to be missing. So he sings in the Viraha Bhava, in a mood of separation. He sings, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Ramanam Gurum Namami, Yadina Janani Stanyam Dadyachichor Batakagati, Yadina Janani Stanyam Dadyachishor Batakagatihi, Yadi Pashupatihi Krodam Kuryat Pashoravanam Kutaha, Yadi Pashupatihi Krodam Kuryat Pashoravanam Kutaha, यदीपदजुषाम् आचार्यत्वं निहंसि न संशयम् भ्रमशतपरा भूतायेते तरन्तु भवं कथम् रमणं गुरुं नमामि रमणं गुरुं नमामि वन्देनो निन्न बळि नೊಂದು ರಮಣ ಭವದ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ಹರಿಸೋ ದಿವ್ಯ ಚರಣ ಬಂದೆನೋ ನಿನ್ನ ಬಳಿ ನೊಂದು ರಮಣ ಭವದ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ಹರಿಸೋ ದಿವ್ಯ ಚರಣ ಬಂದೆನೋ ವಂದೆನೋ ತಾಯಿ ಮುನಿಯಲು ಮಗುವು ತಾವುಳಿಯುವುದೇನು ಪಶುಪತಿಯೇ ಮುನಿಯಲು ಪಶು ನರಳದೇನು ವಿಧಿಯೆದುರು ನಿಂತ ಮಾನವನ ಬಗೆಯೇನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೃಪೆ ತಪ್ಪಿದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಗತಿಯೇನು ಬಂದೆನೋ ನಿನ್ನ ಬಳಿ ನೊಂದು ರಮಣ ಭವದ ಕತ್ತಲೆ ಹರಿಸೋ ದಿವ್ಯ ಚರಣ Ganapati Muni says, if a mother becomes angry with a child and does not take care of that child, does not give it the milk, then what will happen to the little child? If the caretaker of the animals and the cattle, the Pashupati, if he is angry with the animals, what would happen to the animals? And if a disciple is sitting under the feet of the Guru, seeking clarity, seeking answers for all his doubts, if the teacher does not speak and he is in silence, what would happen to that student? And what would happen to these men and seekers who are all filled with so much of conflict, hundreds of afflictions? How will they ever cross this ocean of bhava, the samsara sagara? How will they cross? And how will this darkness of bhava can be removed? I have come to your feet, O Ramana. You have to take care. Ramana is actually taking care. There is a beautiful scene from one of our dramas, earlier dramas. It's called The One Evening with Ramana. And in that dance drama, the glory of Ramana's parents, Sundaram Iyer and Alagammal, are shown. In the earlier scene, there's a story of how a magistrate is coming towards Tiruchudi in his bullock cart, and he is stopped by a group of robbers, dacoits from Tiruchudi, and they stop him and they threaten him to give him all the valuable things that he has, and also the suitcase which has important papers. All are captured, and when the robbers are about to leave from that place, they hear the sound of one more bullock cart, and they wonder, who is that? Is it one more customer? They have to deal and get the money. So they are seeing, and one of the robbers says, oh, that is not our customer. That is our Vairamuttu Ayya. Who is Vairamuttu Ayya? Who is so precious and so good, like the diamond It is our Sundaram Ayya who is coming, who is so respected and who is so kind to even us robbers. So we should not do this. So let us run away. So they give up all the things that they have, which they've captured from the magistrate. They all leave it there and they all run away. And the Sundaramaya comes and he stops his bullock carts and inquires from the magistrate. And the magistrate says, "Oh Sundaramaya, you saved my life. I was in a situation that they were threatening me that they will kill me. And they told that even the God cannot come and save me. But you came to me like a God and you saved me. How is it that even the robbers respect you, oh great Sundaramaya?" And Sundaramaya says, "It is all the grace of Bhuminatha. Come, follow me. Let's go to our house in Tiruchuli and please accept our hospitality and take some rest. And the next day morning, I will also accompany you to the court," said Sundaramaya. And they go to the house and that story ends there. After a few days, the robbers come to the back door of the Sundara Mandiram and they call out for Amma, because we are talking about Janani. And they call out Amma, Amma. They're calling out, crying out for Alagammal. And Alagammal comes out and sees who is it who is calling her. Then she wonders, oh, you are all have come. You wanted to talk to Sundaram Ayya. This is no, Amma. We don't want to talk to Sundaram Ayya. Is he there in the... And the mother says, no, he has gone to court with the magistrate. And they say, Ayo, we have done something, a great mistake. We can't even show our face to Sundaramaya because we tried to loot from a magistrate. And so Alagammal says, yes, he was talking about all what you have done last night when the magistrate was staying with us. I know all about it. And the robbers are hesitating. They're wondering, Amma, they're scratching their head and they're waiting. Then Alagammal asks, what is the matter? Why have you all come? Tell me. And they're still hesitating. They're still not telling why they have come. And she says, why have you come? Please tell me. And one of the robbers say, Amma, from past 3 days, we have not got any money. There has been no business. It is their business of robbing, but there's been no business. So we have been hungry for past 3 days. If you have something leftovers from yesterday, please give it to us, mother. We will be happy to have that because we are not able to tolerate this hunger. And quickly the mother says, Ayo, why were you wasting your time? Why didn't you tell it as soon as you came? I would have given you the food right away. Why should I give you yesterday's food? I have prepared hot food and I'll bring that. Please wait. And he tells them to wait there. And she goes inside and packs a big package of food that 10-15 people can have. So much of food is brought and that packet is given to the robbers. And the robbers wonder, Amma, we only asked food for we 3 who have come. But this is food for more than 10-15 people. And Alagammal says, if you have not had food for 3 days, your family, your wife and children, your parents, even they would have not had food for those 3 days. So please take this home and share it with your family and have it. And the robbers are filled with joy and they say, how kind Mother Alagammal is, that she knew not only our hunger, but she also is considerate and she is empathetic about the hunger of our family too. And this beautiful sentence where Alagammal says, why are you wasting your time? Why are you hesitating? The food is available for each one of you. You just have to turn towards the food and seek it. And you will realize that the food was ever available. Alagammal is not different. Ramana is not different. here Natarajanji says that they are the same force. And what is that force? The force is Arunachala. And what is Arunachala? Arunachala me aham. It is the heart. And the heart is ever ready to feed us with the ambrosia, amrita, tattva. It is waiting for us to turn within. But we are somehow hesitant. We are filled with this thought of guilt, like those robbers. We say, oh, I may not be able to realize myself. I may not be able to enter my heart. And Ramana says, that is the first obstacle. The self is available to everyone. Turn within. And when you melt in love towards the heart, there you will find the Arunachala Ramana. You will find that ambrosia. You will find that mother, Chinmayi, who is ever ready to feed us with the unalloyed bliss. But we somehow turn away from that mother, and we are feeling that we are hungry and the mother is not feeding. But mother is patient. She is waiting for us to turn within. She is waiting. When we turn within, she'll quickly feed us with that ambrosia. And the mother Chinmayi is doing this every day. Every night when we go to sleep, she is feeding us with this ambrosia. So when we wake up the next day morning, we are filled with the same energy to do the activities for the whole day. And again we get tired. We say, oh, mother is not feeding us. And in that, when we are tired and the body and the mind is tired and sinks back to the heart where the Chinmayi is there, again Chinmayi is feeding us. And again we wake up unknowing that this Chinmayi is ever feeding. And Ramana says, get back to that mother in the waking state with full consciousness. If one turns within towards the heart and he turns towards that Chinmayi, he not only gets fed by that Chinmayi, he himself becomes that Chinmayi. He himself becomes the mother. This is the path which Ramana is showing us. And how can he not feed us? How can this Janani Chinmayi, that is Ramana, how can he not feed us? How is he? He is the Pashupati. How will he fail to take care of us? He is Kopamil Gunatoi. He says, oh Arunachala, you are one without any kopam, without any anger. But why have you targeted me? He asks Arunachala. Ramana asks Arunachala and Aksharamanamalai. So he is the one without any anger. How will he ever get angry with us? And the Guru's ways are mysterious. He can teach us by any example. Dattatreya Swami had 24 gurus. None of the gurus spoke to him, but he learned from every guru. And Ramana himself says, Arunachala is my guru. And Arunachala is not speaking a word, but just by his presence, he is revealing the glory of the Sat. He is revealing the glory of being still. We are not still. We are always running behind becoming something or doing something. So that's why we are in this ocean of Bhava Kadal, or we are in the ocean of doing, which is the Karma Kadal. But Ramana says, these are all the becoming and doing are only things which come and go. But what is the basis for every thought and every action? Turn towards that source. When you turn towards the source, you will understand that you are Arunachala. You are that stillness. And to teach us this truth and to make us cross this ocean of becoming, the Bhava Kadal, he does not have to speak to us. He has just silently entered our life and he is slowly revealing his presence in the heart. If we understand this, and turn towards Him, then we are free from all these problems. And that Ramana is ever shining within each one of our heart. And to reveal His presence, He has appeared outside of us, as if to say, in this human form, and to make us turn within. To Kannaji, Ramana says, the outer Guru is telling, the Guru is within. So that outer Guru Ramana is telling, the Guru is within. Find out the answer for all your doubts by turning towards Him and merging in Him, says Ramana. And Ramana has come to reveal this path of understanding that ever-flowing grace of the Guru and to abide as that grace, as the Self. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the sharing of Ramana Ashtottara written by Vishwanatha Swami. This will be shared by Dr. Sarada.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the Self in all beings. By the immense grace of the Self, manifest as Ramana, in this part of the Satsang, we are meditating on the Ramana Ashtottara Shatanamavali, composed by Vishwanatha Swami on Bhagavan Ramana. This is a litany of 108 names. They are typically in praise of Bhagavan. The Ashtottaram is composed on deities. Ashtottaras are composed, Trishatis are composed, Sahasranamas are composed, where we dwell on the different names of the deities for imbibing those qualities in ourselves, or for worshipping those qualities and developing greater devotion to that Godhead. Here, Bhagavan Ramana has been praised by Vishwanatha Swami in the Ashtottaram and by Jagadishwara Shastri in Ramana Sahasranamam. The speciality of the Ramana Ashtottaram of Vishwanatha Swami is that it is also a concise biography of Bhagavan Ramana. The words or the namas or the names by which Ramana is hailed over here are such that they picturize Bhagavan's life. Because that life is so glorious. Meditating upon that life is liberating. It liberates us from bondage to our own body. Therefore, it is called liberating. Ramana Charita Chintana Nasha Bhavada Bandhana. No matter what moment of Bhagavan's life we may be meditating upon, it is bound to reveal to us the glory of the Self, the glory of the Supreme as Arunachala. And as Ujwal Jagadeesh was just saying, Arunachala is the Self. So we are now meditating on the Nama, the name Om Virupaksha Guhavasaya Namaha. We are meditating on those glorious years, that is about 1900 to 1916, when Bhagavan Ramana was residing in the Virupaksha cave. And so many wonderful incidents happened during that period. In particular, we were meditating on his prayer to cure Mother Alagamma of her delirious fever, where she was almost on the verge of death because of her typhoid fever. Now that is the scene we were meditating on, and Bhagavan has composed a song of prayer to Arunachala, wherein he says, "O Arunachala, you are the one who stills the waves of the birds. அலையாய் வருபிறவி அத்தனையும் மாற்ற மலையாய் எழுந்த மருந்தே. You are standing as a hill, a medicine to cure this unending cycle of birds which are coming like wave upon wave upon wave on the and hitting the shores of the ocean. Then what else does he say? He says, Talaiva, oh my Lord, oh my Master, I am your slave. I am living with your feet as my only refuge. Therefore, when my mother has a problem, to whom else can I turn? And does it not become your responsibility to take care of my mother? Because I have no one else to turn to for succor. That is the first verse. And then Bhagavan went on to say, to call Arunachala, you are the death of death. You are Kala Kala. And I have taken refuge at your lotus feet. You have defeated death. So, you must show those lotus feet to my mother so that she too will cross beyond the frontiers of death. Then he goes on to say, Arayir Kalanameyar. If questioned, if inquired into, then what is death? What is death actually, if scrutinized? And here, of course, Bhagavan is talking about himself. As a boy of 12, he inquired into death. He scrutinized death when his father lay dead. When Sundaramayyar lay dead, Venkataraman was just a young boy of 12. But he did not weep. He scrutinized death. He looked at the father's body and wondered why the same body, which was looking no different than when it was asleep the previous night, was now said to be dead. Why it was not responding? Why it was not stopping people from carrying it to the cremation ground and burning it to ashes? And why the people, the dear ones, were doing so to this beloved body? If the body was father, would they burn it and reduce it to ashes? And if the body was father, could it take the burning of the funeral pyre? And he understood at that moment that the body was not his father and had never been his father. So he scrutinized death. He said, that which was my father has left the body, has left his body, and my I is still within my body. That's the point to which he arrived in his scrutiny of death. And then when he was a boy of 16, he was faced with the fear of death, which could not be quelled, which could not be stopped, which had to be only surrendered to. That was the only option which Bhagavan found as a boy of 16. He thought, okay, there is no way in which I can stop death. So let me surrender to it. Let me find out what death means. What is this death? And he lay down as if dead. And he inquired, what is this death? What is it that dies? What is it that dies? The body is dead. And he knew, because he had seen it happen at the time of his father's death, that the body would be burnt and reduced to ashes. So it became a very real experience for him. And he could see at the same time that the self was shining within, absolutely untouched by any of these happenings. And from that moment onwards, he became the deathless one, because he became completely, totally stationed in the self and in the self alone. So that is a secret which Bhagavan is revealing here. What is death if scrutinized? But then there is a prayer. This is the prayer. And then further again, Bhagavan had during the Virupaksha caves, years itself, the experience, one more experience of death. It is called the second death experience. When he was returning from Pachayaman Kovil after a swim with the devotees, or maybe after an oil bath in the tank, what is called an oil bath in Indian English, where oil is applied on the head and all over the body, and then a bath is taken, nice bath is taken. So Bhagavan had some kind of feeling of fainting 2-3 times, and then finally he felt he could not move anymore, and this happened near the Tortoise Rock near Virupaksha cave when they were returning from Pachayaman Kovil, and everyone took him, all the devotees took him to be dead. Vasudeva Shastri hugged him and wept, thinking Bhagavan was dead. But all this Bhagavan was aware of in a hazy manner, but aware nonetheless. But what was actually happening, Bhagavan describes that a white curtain completely covered all the scenario and cut off all that he could see, and he knew that his breathing had stopped, his heart had stopped, and that his body had become cold. He knew it. But he says at the same time, the throb of the I was going on. I, the throb of the spiritual heart, what he calls the spiritual heart, was going on. I, that never stopped even for a second. So Bhagavan is pointing also to that experience by saying, if you scrutinize death, you will understand that death is only for the body. Nonetheless, he is praying for mother. And he says, oh Arunachala, you should envelop mother in your flame of knowledge. Reveal yourself as that light of knowledge, that flame of knowledge, that fire of knowledge. And this good body, this pure body of my mother, Annai Nalludalai Jnanangamaga Cheidu Padathil Aikiyam Akikolvai. Make it one with your feet. Take it into you. Absorb her in you. Absorb her in your light of knowledge, so that there may be no more death for her, and that body does not have to be cremated. Because according to the Sanatana Dharma Shastra, the body of one who is abiding in the self, who has self-knowledge, should not be cremated. And in this way, Bhagavan was prophesying what would happen much later. This was in 1914, and in 1922, Mother Aragamma would be liberated by the gracious touch of Bhagavan himself. And all this we see, all this play we see of Bhagavan praying to Arunachala. Why are you delaying removing mother's illusion? Maya mayakkamadai matra arunamamalai yen tayar mayakkahatra tamadameen. Why are you delaying removing her delusion? You are famed for destroying delusion. Tayahi tannai adaindar. And here Bhagavan says, Arunachala, you are mother. You are that mother who destroys the fate of those who take refuge in you. Tannai adaindar vinai indra karuttan. Your goal, your thought, your purpose, your ideal is to cut away the karma of those who take refuge in you. Such is your motherly love. Tayagi tannai adaindar vinayindra karuttan varulagil unnayallal undovune. Can I turn to anybody else in this world? Is there any other refuge actually in this world? See this prayer of Bhagavan for mother. But What a wonderful prayer he has given to us. What a wonderful understanding of what prayer is it. Prayer should be. What prayer should be. Can there be any other refuge than you? So that is the force of that prayer. But who is praying to whom in this prayer? It appears as if Bhagavan is praying to Arunachala. But what happened? Who is that Bhagavan? What happened to him when he experienced death? He tells Rangan much later. Rangan goes swimming with him and says, "Oh Bhagavan, your feet are so soft now, they are like lotuses. But when we used to swim together as boyhood friends, when I used to get kicked by you in play, it was like being hit by an iron rod. What happened?" And Bhagavan says, that Venkatraman is dead and gone, Ranga. He died on that day. He actually died on that day. He doesn't exist. This is a totally different body. It's a totally different being. And who is this being? Who is this person? He's not that Venkatraman. He is only the pure vehicle of the force of Arunachala Shakti. That's why Humphrey says when he comes and sees Bhagavan later in 1911, again in Virupaksha cave, he says, I could see God radiating terrifically from him, from that corpse-like body which was sitting there. Body was a mere corpse, he said. It was a dead body sitting there. He actually uses the expression corpse for Bhagavan's body. And God was radiating terrifically from him, he says. Physically, Bhagavan was carried literally to Arunachala. Again, it is to Rangan, he says. Rangan asked him, why didn't you tell me? At least I was your close friend. Why did you tell me you were going to Arunachala? He said, Ranga, did I plan the travel? Did I know I was going to go? I was just carried here like a speck of dust in a huge flood. A speck of dust just being swept there. And after he came, what did he say? I don't know why you brought me and I've come, that's all. I know I've come. Further, nothing to be said, nothing to be done. Everything that belonged to him thrown away into the iron Kolam tank. What is there in him? He is only the moving, talking force of the Arunachala Shakti. The Arunachala, the self alone, Arunachala alone was living in Ramana from that moment onwards. The self alone was living in Ramana from that moment onwards. And so we see that everything that happens in Bhagavan's life is the doing of Arunachala and Arunachala alone. And this prayer is a prayer by Arunachala to Arunachala. It is not a prayer by Ramana to Arunachala. It is a prayer by Arunachala Ramana. Arunachala in the form of Ramana to Arunachala, who is that blazing fire of knowledge we see as the hill, embodied as the hill, and Arunachala, the very self. So everything, as Bhagavan says, all movements are happening, rising in the self, sustained in the self, subsiding in the self. There is nothing apart from that. And this whole play is a play of Arunachala alone, manifest as Ramana, and showing us the path of fulfilling every duty perfectly. We see that in Bhagavan's life. Fulfilling that great gratitude. Each and every person with whom Bhagavan has interacted, who has given something to Bhagavan, has got from him in return much more than obviously mother who bore him, gave birth to him, suckled him, brought him up till he was a man, made him a man of 16 years when he could dive into Arunachala. That mother, the debt of gratitude, will Arunachala allow Bhagavan not to repay that debt of gratitude? He will not do so. So in that Leela, we have this beautiful prayer happening in the Virupaksha days. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri.
Namo Ramana. We will now have the chanting of Aksharamanamalai by Srimati V. Radha.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. ஓங்கார பொருள் ஒப்புயர்வில்லோய் உனையார் அறிவார் அருணாச்சலா. ஔவை போல் எனக்கு உணருளை தந்தென்னை ஆளுவதுன் கடன் அருணாச்சலா. கண்ணுக்கு கண்ணாய் கண்ணின்றி காணுனை காணுவதேவர் பார் அருணாச்சலா. காந்தம் இரும்பு போல் கவர்ந்தென்னை விடாமல் கலந்தென்னோடிருப்பாய் அருணாச்சலா. கிரி உருவாகிய கிருப்பை கடலே கிருப்பை கூர்ந்தருளுவாய் அருணாச்சலா. கீழ்மேலெங்கும் கிளரொளி மணியன் கீழ்மையை பாழ் செய் அருணாச்சலா. குற்றமுற்றரு தென்னை குணமாய் பணித்தாள் குரு உருவாய் ஒளிர் அருணாச்சலா. கூர்வாட்கண்ணியர் கொடுமயிர் படாதருள் கோர்ந்தென்னை சேர்ந்தருள் அருணாச்சலா. கெஞ்சியும் வஞ்சியாய் கொஞ்சமும் இறங்கில்லை அஞ்சல் என்றே அருள் அருணாச்சலா. கேளாதளிக்கும் உன் கேடில் புகழை கேடு செய்யாதருள் அருணாச்சலா. கையினிற் கனி உன் மெய்ரசம் கொண்டு உவகை வெறி கொள அருள் அருணாச்சலா. கொடியிட்டடியரை கொல்லுனை கட்டி கொண்டெங்கன் வாழ்வேன் அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சல சிவ 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 அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சல சிவ அருணாச்சலா. அருணாச்சலம் வாழி அன்பர்களும் வாழி. அக்ஷரமணமாலை வாழி. நமோ ரமணா.
Namo Ramana. We will now conclude today's satsang with the Ashtottara puja to Bhagavan. The Ashtottara puja will be done by Sri Dileep Simha at his altar. The chanting of Ashtottaram will be done by Vaibhavji and Prarthana and Uma Shripati. We will conclude today's satsang with the Arati to Bhagavan. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramana.
नमो रमण. भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्री रमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावली अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्विमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि. ॐ महासेनमहंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्धितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूडिकाखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्तिनिभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः।
ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्री शोणाचलहृद्भूतस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः ॐ स्मरणात्मन्दमोचकाय नमः ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः ॐ शोणाद्रीशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः ॐ गुहाय नमः ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः ॐ देवतमाय नमः ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः ॐ सेनान्ये नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः।
ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थाणोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्य तद् दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनास्येकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावर्ण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡು ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡಲೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ बोलो भगवान श्री रमण महर्षि की
जय